stream. I have never done anything like this before, so we are figuring it out for the very first time. I'm improvising some stories. We're gonna figure out how it goes. First I need some prompts. Does anyone have any ideas? What kind of a story should we be talking about? I'm thinking we should talk about. I already did one about a dog. Can't do one about a dog again. Maybe a cat this time. Maybe the king's dog. I don't know. I'm not sure. We gotta figure out a quest, and if he's gonna go on a quest, it's gotta be epic. I'm thinking he goes on a great adventure, or actually maybe even a small adventure. It's all about these small short stories. Let's just start by going with some exciting tunes. I don't know if I can rhyme on the spot, so let's probably not sing. So that's all right. Hello, welcome in everyone. We are improvising stories today. First we need to figure out where we're going to go. So I'm thinking we're going to start in a forest. Let's see, it's a forest one night. I'm walking through the road when I see something off in the distance. And off in the distance there is a firelight, and that firelight is from a campfire, I assume, but I don't actually know for certain. So let's see, should we go down the path? What do you think? Hello, Ephraim. Good to see you again. Am I pronouncing it right, Ephraim? Good to see you. Very good indeed. I think we're gonna go into the forest, so let's take a little bit of a stroll. Hey, tell me, can you hear the music and me talking at the same time, or is one of the other overpowering? I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm just trying it for the first time. Yep, you're saying that right. Okay, awesome. I'm glad I'm pronouncing your name right. Thank you. All right, so we go into the forest. Yes, all right. I'm going to keep on going. We go into the forest, investigating these lights. I walk a bit of a ways until I stumble upon this campsite. And now it's not a fire. I was actually wrong. So what it is there's some kind of a magical, mystical energy inside. The mystical energy is coming from a stone. The stone is in the center, and I'm like, what's going on with this stone? Cautiously, I approach, and when looking at this stone, I thought to myself, well, is this really safe to be here? Entirely honest, I'm not entirely sure. Hello, welcome in, Aiden. Good to see you. Let me know if you want the story to go a direction. I'm improvising, so. I've been good. Thank you for asking, Ephraim. Sorry, I cannot see the text without getting close. That's mysterious. Something is up. There's a cultist on the other side of the clearing. I wonder what they want. They're wearing all black except for one thing, and that is their hands, which have red gloves on them. Or at least, I hope they were originally red. Just talk. All right, sweet. Good to see you. Hello. Welcome in, everyone. So I talk to this cultist and I say, hello there, cultist. It's good to see you. What is this stone about? And he said, I'm glad you came. Let me show you. I'll show you firsthand, up close and personal, what this stone is and why it's glowing. I just need you to come right over here and stand in this exact spot. So naturally, I thought, what could possibly go wrong? I am not on Twitch. I am just on YouTube. Abstract. Thank you. So So I go up to this cultist, and he tells me to stand in this one position. So I'm like, well, what could possibly go wrong? I stand there, and he starts singing for me. At least I think he's singing. It's in a language that I don't fully understand, but to be entirely honest, been watching. Good stare. To be entirely honest, I'm not entirely sure what he's saying. So he's speaking in a language, he's chanting, and then as I know it, it sounds like he's almost speaking in two voices at the same time. It's like he's saying one thing, and almost like it's harmonizing. Like usually he's like, this is chant, and then he adds in like a second voice. I'm like, what is going on? How is he singing all this once? So then I join in, and I start singing too. And we made some pretty epic music together, and now that was a lot of fun. But let's see. I want to see this one more time. What is your character finish? Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot keep up. I'll break character for 1 second. I totally need glasses. Where did I get? What thing are you asking about, Aiden? Are you talking about the octave mandolin? I found it. I found it by a tree, and I just picked it up and I took it and used it as myself. What are we watching? What are we doing? Oh, Ephraim, we are improvising a story. I'm trying to pull one out of thin air. Who's that cheesecake cheddar box? Hello. Good to see you. I hope I'm saying that right. I need glasses, but I can't have glasses because I am medieval. Hello. Hello. I'm glad you're new. I'm good to see you around. Welcome. It's good to have you. We are currently talking about a story. I was walking through the forest. I saw a strange light, followed it, saw a glowing stone, and then a cultist had me sing with him. I hope I'm not getting sacrificed. Well, actually, I guess spoiler alert. I'm still alive, so but we'll figure that out as it goes. Cheesecake Swiss Chatterbox third iteration. Wow, that is quite an awesome name. You know, I thought my name was long, with it being Minstrel, a whole 2 syllables. But you know, as things are. So the next thing I know, it's daytime. It was in the middle of the night, and now it's all of a sudden day. And I wonder where the time went. And the cultist is nowhere to be found. So I'm looking around, and that's when I realized I wasn't in the forest anymore. How do you triumph? How do I live? Oh, let me get to that in a bit. So this cultist, he had me trapped, actually. So as I'm looking around, I'm like, what's going on here? Why am I not in the forest anymore? I'm actually in like a grassy plain of sorts, but something's not quite right. See, the grass is not green. The grass is blue, and the sky is not blue. The sky is green, so everything's pretty backwards. And I'm like, there has to be some reason for me to be here. So I walk around and I encounter there's only one other living being. What's this? Is this a real story? Yes, I got transported to another dimension just the other day. It was pretty wild. So it's yeah, it was quite a time. But let me tell you about it. So I see this one other living creature, and that living creature is a gnome. And now I try not to judge, but I've had some bad run-ins with gnomes in the past, in particular Crawley, if you've ever heard of him. How long have you been making videos? I've been making, thank you, Ephraim. I have been making videos for about 1.5 years now, actively. Technically, I've been around since 2014. The sky has, cheesecake, the sky has fallen, where does the land has arisen? Who would put it back? That's a good point. See, now this gnome had cast a spell on this land. And part of his mischief, he said, until you understand without a doubt, this kingdom shall forever be inside out. What is up now is down. So follow me unto my town. So I followed him, and we went to his town. And we there he had a special problem, and this is why he had casted the curse on the land. It was actually more of a cry for help than anything. So I was ashamed that I had judged him so quickly. So I talked to him. I'm like, well, what is your plight? What's the problem? And he has a pet goat, and this pet goat had fallen ill, but it was from a very rare sickness. It wasn't like a normal sickness where you can like recover with time. You have to what you had to do was not exactly necromancy, kind of a sort of magic, but it was some kind of a fey trick, I'm sure. But anyways, this pet goat had gotten gravely ill. He wants longer. Hi. I'll be back. Welcome. Okay. See you later, Ephraim. I'll see you soon. How many people we got? Quite a few, actually. Welcome. So he was, this goat, I had to figure out the cure. And there was he said that I had to go find a special plant, and except this plant was actually in the world that I had come from originally. That's what the cultist was looking for. He was trying to get that plant and then send it. But, I think he accidentally sent me instead. So anyways, I have to get out of this realm. So now that I know my mission, I start to see my vision's going white. It's glowing until I'm transported back into the place where I came from. Are you on something like, do I need help? I probably do need help, but I'm not gonna get it. Because I'm the only one that I can help in this story. I'm all alone. See, there's usually I have the messenger with me, or even the monarch on special occasion, but in this case, I was all alone. So when I'm transported back to the real world, the cultist greets me. He shakes my hand, and as he shakes my hand also turns red. Because if you remember, the gloves that he was wearing was red. Um, this is the craziest story. I can't believe I'm doing this. Anyways, I cannot believe that I'm talking to a cultist, shaking hands, turning my hands red. And see, that is the curse of the cultist. Cheesecake asks, is the plant rare or mystical at all in our land? No. So do you know those clovers that sometimes grow in the forest? They've kind of got like a heart-shaped leaf. I know them as apple clover, for example, but that was what he was looking for. That was the sacred thing that plant that he needed to give to the goat. And thankfully, I knew what that looked like. So the cultist had no idea, but I had my red hand, so there was no way that I could leave without getting that that leaf. So I started searching, and I started searching everywhere. But the problem is, it's incredibly dark, and I can't seem to see anything. So I asked him if he has any light spells, and he said, yeah, I do have a light spell. That was the rock that was glowing earlier. So, but he used all of the light to transport me to a different dimension to actually understand this thing. King on. Sorry, let me try and keep up. Not the 16th century, bro. It's 2025, really. Wow, I must have transported pretty far to the future. That's pretty great. Good to know. I hope there's modern technology and stuff like that, like modern medicine. That'll be exciting. Speaking of medicine, so I found this leaf after searching around for a little bit of time. The problem was there wasn't a whole lot, so I had to be very careful with it. So I pluck out all the little leaves, gather it, keep it in my hand. I have a little pouch on my belt, so I put it in there. And I go back to the cultist. I'm like, all right, I got the leaves. Can you send me back? It's like, well, I would send you back, but we need to wait until this stone recharges, and it only recharges once a day. So we have a whole day to kill, basically. Aiden says I am weird. I am, in fact, weird. Thank you for pointing it out. Our king is on live stream. Okay, thank you, Ephraim. It's gonna be weird. Good to be weird. Good to be absurd. Good to be silly. Thanks. I think so too. It's quite a fun hobby. Profession that I do all the time because I'm 100% a minstrel. Anyways, so we had a whole day that I had to keep this grass safe in my pouch so that I could give it to the goat when the stone ended up recharging. The problem was this forest was full of other woodland creatures, and I had taken the last of this apple root because it was very popular in those places. The deer would like to eat it, so I became a pretty heavy target on my back, or I guess my satchel, whatever you want to say. So I'm walking through the forest, and I'm trying to find a place where I can hang out until the night falls and the day comes, and then the night falls again, so we can charge up this stone. And I stumble upon a cave. And now this cave is pretty cool. It seems like a nice spot where it's a defensible position where I can, if someone comes up, I can use my super strong punches against. Chat, you guys are popping on. I mean, you guys are doing excellently. Thank you. Good to see you. So I go into this cave, and it looks like a pretty regular cave. It looks like it's fairly shallow, but I'm like, well, what am I going to be able to use to barricade the cave off with? So I start looking around. I try and find some stones and stuff. And as I'm looking for these stones, the cave starts to rumble a little bit. Now, I don't pay any mind to it because, I'm so focused on trying to find these stones. But when the cave opens and there's like the cave kind of goes to the back. Here's the entrance. The cave always goes to the back, and then like this door opens up, and there's the goblins start to rush out. And I'm like, well, shoot, I can't fight the goblins. So they surround me. I can't run at all. So I'm trying to figure out what on earth I'm going to do. I'm surrounded by goblins. I've got the sacred grass that I have to give to the goat when the cultist gets his stone to power up again. And I'm like, what do I do? And they're like, what's the number one thing? Does anyone know? What is the number one thing that What is the number one thing that scares off goblins? Can anyone guess? I need to figure that out. Haters hating, but I don't mind. What do you do? I'm sure you have skills in your own. That's right, I do have skills. See, thankfully I had packed my flute. Hello, it's Honey. Did I butcher that? I think I did. Pickles, thank you. Target strikes. Goblins are afraid of the IRS. That is correct. So what I said is, hello, welcome goblins. I am here to do your taxes. And I played them that little tune, and they lost their mind. They started running around. They were scrambling over each other, trying to get back into this thing. But I chased them down because their taxes had not been done yet. This took a turn for the worse. What's going? Goblins are afraid of the IRS. Vampire hunters. Yeah, vampire hunters too. So I also have this thing, which they thought was a stake. It's actually just the, if I can point it to you. This is the thing for my drum. But I obviously didn't have the drum on me because it's massive. So I play, let's see, if I can, I want to remember if I can sing. So that was the IRS song that I played so while I was trying to do their taxes, and they thought I was a vampire. Anyways, so they all took off running back into the back to the cave, scrambling over, trying to get back. And thankfully, I was safe. And by about that time, it was almost evening, so I would almost go back to the cultist, who could then light up a stone, who could send me back, and then I could give him the sacred apple root, which I had on my hip. So it was almost evening, so it's almost time. So I walk outside and I start looking around, and that's when I hear in the distance the howl of a wolf. Now, normally I'm not too scared of wolves because I'm in a town, and if I hear a wolf off in the distance, I'm like, cool, good for them. But right now I was alone, and I did not have a weapon on me because I typically don't travel with a weapon. Usually I'm able to smart my way out of things, but the problem is you can't really smart your way out of talking to a wolf. So unless they're a magical wolf that understands human speech, which I did not want to rely on. Cheesecake, thank you for complimenting my music. That was totally improvised. Do Fiddler Green. I am not familiar with that is. What is that? Happens when sorry, yes, please tell me your advice. Forgive my non-medieval glasses. I wish I could play instruments, but I only play sounds in the wind. Hey, wind sounds are pretty cool, Cheesecake. You keep it up. I mean, I'm just saying, if I can learn all these, you could probably learn one. You got it. Just got to keep it up. This is what happens when you... Something Matt Mercer and a mild amount of masculine. Oh, green sleeves. I think I know green sleeves, but I'm not entirely sure. Wait, shoot. How's it go? Something like that. I forgot. Lights an assorted amount of candles. Candles are nice. Green Sleeves is a good song. I've been meaning to do a cover of Green Sleeves, actually, but I'm going to wait until Christmas time. Anyway, so as I was playing my instruments, distracted by the green leaves that reminded me of Green Sleeves, I was confronted by the wolf. Now, to my surprise, this wolf... usually they're like shades of brown and black and white, but this guy was actually he had, he had brown fur, white fur, sure, but like his head, it was entirely like not quite yellow, kind of a blondish color, and it was strangely human for a wolf. So this puzzled me at first. Maybe this wolf is not your normal everyday wolf. So I'm like, well, what do I do? How do I talk to the wolf? I say, hello, wolf, please do not eat me. And the wolf said nothing in reply. So I said, are you a magic wolf? Can you understand me? And it's still absolutely nothing. So then I thought I'd communicate to it in the universal language by playing something. So something like that. And then so I'm playing the flute, the tin whistle here, right? And then the wolf, it starts to like step to the side. I'm like, what's going on? So I keep playing, right? So I keep playing, right? And then the wolf steps to the other side. And I'm like, is he circling me? Is he about to like come in and attack or something? But um thank you. Thank you all for the compliments. So I'm like, is this guy gonna like attack me or something? He's like circling, he's like looking at me, but then he steps going to the side. I'm like, oh wait, he's dancing. So I realize that's my ticket out of this. So I keep playing a tune. I think it sounded something like this. This is what you modern folk call jazz. So anyways, he starts dancing to the side, and he's having a fun time. He's doing circles now around, and eventually he accidentally did that. I was amazed, but he accidentally spun around 3 times. And you know, whenever a dog spins around 3 times, they instantly fall asleep, whether they want to or not. So he had spun around 3 times, and he had fallen asleep. And thankfully, right about then, it was about nightfall. So I'm like, okay, I got to get back to this cultist so that I can give the apple clover back to the gnome who has a sick goat. So I go back to I search through the woods and I see a light in the distance. I'm like, yes, finally, now is the time. It's all coming to a close. What is that? Multi-universal. Don't quite get the spectral language, but I definitely begin dancing like that wolf. Yes, indeed. The wolf certainly had quite a fun time. So I go back to this. I see the light. I'm walking through the forest, and the light's just a bit further than I imagined. And you know, I'm walking toward it, and it's just a bit further. I'm like, I've been walking too long. I see the light. It's right there. What's happened? So then I remember. I don't know if you ever have heard the great tale, the great legend of Zelda, but there's this secret forest where if you walk too far in one direction or you go down a wrong path, you'll get confused and you'll end up right back where you started. And I knew that about this forest, but I also knew there was a trick, but I wasn't entirely sure what the trick was for this guy. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I walk this way, it doesn't happen. I walk this way, it doesn't happen. I walk this way, and then I see a sign, and this sign on it, it says, no turning back, or no turning back now, right? So then I was like, what do you mean no turning back now? I'm looking at this sign, and I'm like, well, that can't mean anything. So of course I turn around and I keep walking, and then I keep walking and I go back to the sign, and then I was walking in a straight line, but somehow I managed right in front of the sign again. So then I'm like, this is the same thing. No turning back now. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So then I go around it. I keep going forward. And then when I turn around, the sign's not there. And I turn back in front, and the sign's right in front of me. I'm like, what on earth is going on? And then I get it. See, the sign was trying to give me a hint the whole time. It said, no turning back, as in you can't turn around. And if you turn around, you're screwed, right? So I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense. Of course. So then I start walking backwards, and I'm walking backwards for quite a bit. Somehow, in a tree, this is the most amazing part. In a forest full of trees, I don't hit a single tree while walking backwards. And I walk backwards. It must have been like 2 or 3 minutes of just walking backwards until eventually I stumbled into the clearing, and the cultist was there, and he's like, sweet. Did you get the apple clover? You're like, yes, I have the apple clover. We can give it to the goat. And all right, sweet. So with our red hands, we shake, and we start singing that same song again. He starts with a little, and then he adds a harmony in. Then I start playing. And just like that, I'm transported back into the other world, and now this is the same place. You know, I'm like looking around, the grass is blue, the sky is green. All right, I'm in the right place. And the gnome comes up to me and says, "Do you have the apple clover, and I say to myself, yes, I actually do. So then I open up my satchel, and I'm like, is this the stuff you're looking for? And he rejoices. He does a little dance and starts. He has a whistle too, so he starts playing his tune. I'm like, that doesn't answer my question at all. I'm saying, did I get the right apple clover? And he says, yes, you did. Come, bring it to my goat, and we will be able to heal him from his magic sickness. So I follow the gnome to his goat, um, and the goat is he's sitting there and he's looking at me with kind of a knowing glance, like finally my time has come. So I get out the apple clover. I'm like, I sure hope this isn't a trap. I get the apple clover and I give it to the goat, and the goat eats it, and the goat says out loud in speech that I can understand. I think what you modern folk call this slang. I said, I think it means something like, wow, this is pretty incredible. But he said, bro, this slaps, or whatever. I don't know. I had to look it up later. But he said something like that. And he ate down the apple clover, and he starts to grow. And as he's growing, he gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And every leaf that he bites, he gets a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger until he actually um, is so large now that the roof of the house kind of pops up a little bit. And I'm like, this is the strangest goat in the wild. And then I'm like, tell me this isn't another dream of mine or whatever. So then I anyway, so it gets so large that eventually the roof comes out. And the gnome's like, dang it, not again. So he uses his magic wand. He has a magic wand. It looked something like this, about this long. Anyways, he lifts the roof up, sets it down to the ground, and he the goat hops out of the house and is now outside, grows a little bit more, and then you see like two little things pop out of his back. I'm like, what are these? They like the size of my hand maybe, but then they start growing the size of my arm and the size of me, and then full blown wings. This goat sprouts wings from the apple clover. I'm like, there's no way that this guy just sprouted wings. So I talked to the gnome. I'm like, well, tell me, why is this goat sprouting wings just based on the apple clover? Um, and he says, well, his name is Johnny. You ever heard of Johnny Appleseed? Yeah, he went around and he started planting apples, right? Apple trees around. So he also blessed my goat. He gave my goat one of his apples. So now every time my goat eats something related to an apple, he bro, am I tripping or what? Yeah, I am tripping. Christopher says that goat's flying off the cold hard ground. That's exactly right. What's your name? Lawson. So to bring you up to speed, I'm improvising a story and pulling it out of thin air. So yes, it's gonna sound like a fever dream. It was pretty crazy. If you have any suggestions for story prompts, just let me know. What's this? And who is this Johns of Appleseed? John of Appleseed. I'll tell that story next. Let me just finish with the goat. So the goat sprouts his wings, right? He flies and around. So he's a goat dragon. Like basically is the end all short of it. So this goat dragon is able to go around and he's able to turn the grass from blue into green again, and then turns the sky from green to blue. So he flips everything back to where it should be. So then what's the rhyme? He gave me a rhyme right immediately. I think he sang a verse of some kind. What was the song? I forget, but it's if you feed my mighty goat apple seed, then he shall bloat, and off you'll take unto the sky. Your journey has come to nigh. Terrible. I don't know. He probably didn't say it like that. But anyways, with that magic spell, he sent me back to my place, and my hands, usually they were red, right? Because the people who were bound by this pact, their hands were red. But now my hands were back to normal. That's how they look now, right? And they were yeah. So I talked to the cultist. It was actually just a dude. He had a hood on. He wasn't actually a cultist. I found out later. He was kind of just some peasant that stumbled upon this rock. He started singing one day and it started glowing, and then he started transporting. He did kind of the same thing I did. That was pretty fun, pretty exciting. Anyways, so we saved the goat. We were able to get at the apple seed. We were able to have a pretty excellent time. All right, let's get me some story prompts in the chat, and I'll go off on the next one. We're gonna have Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed is gonna be the main character, but I need a setting. Where are we gonna start our story? Where are we gonna start it out? Are we gonna be in a forest? Are we gonna be in a castle? Are we gonna be in a town? Any suggestions you got? I'm gonna go off of, right? Until then, I'm just gonna keep playing a little bit of a song. In the Shire. Okay, so we've got Johnny Appleseed in the Shire. What does he want to do? Is he trying to like, is he trying to go out to like, you know, grab some groceries, or is he trying to like find some gold? What is Johnny Appleseed? I guess he probably wants to plant trees, doesn't he? Maybe he lost his seed. Oh, that'd be... So Johnny Appleseed has lost his pack of apple seeds. So he's just Johnny now. And see, Johnny is... he's pretty disappointed by losing the start of his name, or the end of his name, rather. Because without his apple seeds, Johnny's just Johnny, right? So he goes... he's like, who stole my apple seeds? Because he left them on the mantle when he was in the morning. And that was in his house. And his door was locked, I think. What's this? It says, trolls stole his apple seed. That's pretty rough. It's hard to get back from the trolls. But you know what? Let's run with that. So... trying to think. So our hero wakes up one day and he realizes his apple seeds are gone. He had left them in a barrel outside. Because he has a lot of apple seeds, he doesn't want to store them inside. But this barrel, he keeps it in the same spot every day. He wakes up, he pats his barrel on the head. He's don't tell him I said this. He's a little crazy, but not quite as crazy as me, but like sort of crazy. Anyway, he really likes his apple. I can't shame the guy. He really likes his apples. Anyways, so he is going to look for this barrel. And next to the barrel, he sees some grass has kind of been compressed down. And he's like, what's going on? There must have been a deer or something that slept here last night. But no, the more he looked at it, the more he saw the compressed grass was actually like all around. Like something had actually been trampling. Because, you know, what's this? You know, Tom Bombadil can help recover them. Yes, Tom Bombadil. That's pretty legendary. He might come into play later. So he puts together that since there's all this trampled ground around, there must have been something very large to make these prints that they're like almost twice as big as my head, right? Maybe this big as this thing. I don't know. I forget. He didn't actually tell me. I'm just trying to remember. But anyway, so he talked. No, he didn't talk. What am I saying? Probably just BSing. But anyway. So he sees these trails, and this trail is going off into outside of the Shire. Now, Johnny Appleseed hadn't really been, or I guess just Johnny at this point, Johnny hadn't really been outside the Shire very much. When he was a kid, he was told not to go into the dark forest, of course, because, you know, there's monsters or whatever. Now, he never really believed that, because, like, you know, monsters don't actually exist. He's never actually seen a monster. He's just heard about them in tales, so it's probably just something that the parents tell their kids so that they don't get eaten by wolves or normal monsters, right? Like animals. So he's like, well, it can't be that bad. So he tightens his belt, he puts on his cloak, he slips up his hood, and he goes walking off into the forest, following these trails. In this dark forest, it was what's that? Wargs eek. Yes, wargs are they're pretty nasty suckers. So I never met one myself. I wouldn't be here if I did. But yeah, hopefully we don't encounter any wargs. Anyway, so Johnny, he goes off into the forest to find his apple seed. He's following this trail of large footprints, and he's as he's walking, suddenly, right in the middle of nowhere, the trail just stops dead cold. Like usually it's going forward, and then there's no trees around, there's no climbing, right? So it just stops. There's like not really a clearing, just like not a ton of trees. Like it's not like it goes into a tree or anything. It's just in the middle of the place, right? So he sees sees these trails stop and like, well, what's going on? Where did my apple seeds go? So he backtracks a little bit. He goes back up the path. He's searching around the forest a little bit, but he can't find anything until he thinks to himself, if there's anything at all that I'm going to find, it's going to be at the end of the path. So he goes up to the end of the path and it's like, all right, let's see this. So this footprint goes here, this footprint goes here, and then there's none here. So maybe there's something here. And then he looks a little bit closer and he sees, it's not that the footprints disappear, it's that the footprints got smaller. So it looked like it just faded out immediately, but no. So if you look closer, they got smaller and smaller until there's a little bit of an underground tunnel. And you're like, well, this seems odd. I don't know anything that large to be able to get that small to fit into this little tunnel. And I certainly can't, so what am I going to do? What's that, Jade? Greetings, mortals. Hello, Jade. Welcome to the live stream. We are improvising stories. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the chat and we'll get going. For anyone else new that's just joining us, leave your suggestions in the chat and we'll add those into the story. So he's looking around and he sees this small hole and you think there has to be a secret. There has to be a way you get down there, right? So as he's searching around, he encounters what's sort of a strange figure, and this strange figure approaches him, and this strange figure is about half his size, right? Johnny Appleseed is a full-sized person living in the Shire, but this seemed like about level of a hobbit or a gnome even. Not quite a gnome maybe, but let's see. And the gnome goes up to him and says, "Hello there, you seem like you're in a bit of trouble. What are you looking for?" And he says, "Well, I was looking for my apple seeds." "Oh, you're Johnny Appleseed, or I guess just Johnny, aren't you?" And Johnny is not very thrilled at this, so he's already off on the bad foot with this guy. He doesn't like him very much. I mean, he just misnamed him. So he says, "Yes, I am Johnny," he says with gritting teeth. And he's like, "Anyways, who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just a small fellow, just an old man, the oldest even." And he's walking around and he's like, don't you know what you're looking for? You know, are you looking for your apple seeds? You wanna find them? What brings you to this part of the forest in particular? And he's following the trails. And he explains the situation where he has the barrel, he didn't find it in the morning, so then he follows these footprints into the forest. And he says, "Well, that's where I'm at, and I can't really go any further because I can't shrink down here." And he's like, "Well, how do you think they did it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really know who they are." And he's like, "Well, I know who they were. I was there back when they were first created." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool." Not cryptic at all. Anyways, so he asks him, "Well, what's going on?" And says, "Well, they got shrunk down by a special person, a special magical person, someone who owns this land, or not owns this land, someone who has a mutual cooperation." We interpret it as power. It wasn't exactly power. It's more of a mutual cooperation. But so he's like, "Well, oh, I guess that's you, right? You're a wizard. What's your name?" And he said, "Oh, my name is Tom, and I can help you. Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadillo. I remember there was a song about him once. I've completely forgotten the song. Anyways, so Tom Bombadil says, "I will help you and get into this small..." What's that? ARA Animations. "I've never seen this sort of stream. Seems cool. Thanks." Yes, we're improvising stories. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the chat and I'll incorporate them in the story. It helps me out a lot because I'm trying to do like 3 million things at once. Anyways, so Tom Bombadil starts to shrink him down and he's walking toward this hole in the ground and it shrinks him and he's like, "Well, I guess it's now or never." And he thinks right before he like turns and says, "Hey, how am I gonna get big again?" And by that point he's too small. He can't actually say anything. Christopher says, "Be careful in troll caves. They paint offensive memes and insults on the wall to try and get adventurers riled up." Yes. No. Funny you mentioned that. So these trolls, they were particularly mischievous, and they knew that this Johnny Appleseed, or just Johnny since he lost his apple seeds, was going to come after him. So what did they do? As he walks down, he's like, "I'm going to get my apple seeds back, and we're going to plant my apple trees like I always wanted." And it says he's walking down on the walls, every other panel or every other like stone on the wall has some inscription on it. And he's like, what is this inscription on this wall? He looks very closely and he notices as he peers closely and he looks, he shades his eyes, brushes it off. It is an apple. And of course it's an apple, the one thing that he can't have, just standing there, taunting him, staring him down, but it's just a figment of his vision. It's just the illusion of an apple. It's just an image on the wall. It's not a real apple. So at this point he's a bit miffed, but he tries to ignore it and he keeps walking down the path, down these steps, right, that are going down deeper into the cave. And then on the side, he sees another image. Now the image has changed from apples to trees. Oh, thank you all for the hearts. I appreciate it. What's this? Hello? Ole. You know, I'm going to be completely honest. I've never been able to pronounce your name, but it's Ole. I'm going to say Ole, unless I'm incorrect. Welcome. Good to see you again. Thank you all for the hearts. Johnny realizes that apple seeds were the friends he made along. Now y'all are just messing with me. I mean, you fellow travelers are playing tricks on my mind. No, y'all are messing with me. All right. So as he goes down, he sees the trees that are painted on the wall. The apples turns into trees, and that's the one thing that he can't plant the trees. He wants to plant the trees, but he can't plant the trees, and that shift is making him really start to get angry. Right? He's getting riled up. Ha! That was written on one of the cave paintings. Oh yes. Yes, so as he's going down, he sees saplings, he sees apples, and then he sees a bunch of little specks. And like, what are these specks? And he finds that they are seeds, but they're not just paintings of seeds this time. No, these are real seeds that have been intentionally smashed against the wall. And this is the last straw for Johnny without the apple seed. So he's pissed by this point. He's fury. He can feel it bubbling up in his chest. There's a heat behind his eyes. These are his apple seeds, and they wasted them. So, anyways, he's running at this point. He doesn't even care where the cave trolls are at this point. He just wants to get his apple seeds back. So he's running down these steps, and just as he's running, he sees finally there's a door into a big room, and he's gonna teach these small or normal sized cave trolls. I imagine since the path was kind of his height, that the cave trolls would probably also always be his height. So he's gonna take him, right? He's gonna show him who's boss. And above this door, it says, "The real apple seeds are the friends we made along the way." And that was it. So he's running in. He no longer cares about anything but these apple seeds. And he as he walks through the door, he finally is confronted with the cave troll. Oh, but not a second until he doesn't even recognize the cave trolls until he's flat on his face. Like, what's going on? He realized that he had tripped something on his way in. He had stepped on a rope. In his fury, he was running so fast that he tripped and he fell right on his face. And he's slapping. He's like, what's going on? He tries to move his feet, but his feet are bound together. And all of a sudden, the cave troll is like lifting this rope, starts dangling by his toes, right? He's up in the air, upside down, and then they're the trolls laughing at him. And see, here's the funny thing. The trolls are actually shorter than him. Usually trolls are like monstrous, right? But I think Tom Bombadil shrunk them down probably a little more than he really needed to. But anyways, so all those trolls are shorter with him, which is just proof on why they had to trick him, why they had to hang him by his toes, right? His feet, not exactly his toes, but kind of his toes, his heels. But thank you for the hearts. So he's dangling in the air, like, what am I gonna do? He's like, well, I probably should have thought this through, right? It's just swaying back and forth. The trolls say, haha, Johnny, no apple seed, what are you gonna do now? But see, Johnny had thought about this. Now, Johnny is a planter of trees, but he also is kind of a pruner, you might say. He helps take off the bad branches to help everyone, to help the whole tree kind of grow to a greater size. What's this? He cries tears of apple juice. Yes, Johnny Appleseed will cry tears of apple juice. Thank you, Jaddle. Apple powers. Not exactly yet apple powers, but apple powers may come into play. So, let's see. thinks to himself, I prepared for just this sort of situation. Except, usually I cut down branches. But this time I'm going to be cutting down the trolls. But no, that's a bit morbid. So, but anyways, as a good forester, lumberjack, treeman, a person of the forest that's able to take care of the trees, whatever that's called. I'm going to call them a woodsman. That's the word, a woodsman. He's an apple woodsman. Ephraim, hello, hi. Watching me while you're eating. Okay, I hope you have an excellent meal with some great stories. Welcome back to the stream. So we where we left off, the goat story is ended now, but we are following Johnny Appleseed on his quest to retrieve his apple seeds back from the trolls. Those of you who are just joining in, the trolls have trapped him. They're hanging him by his feet. He's just suspended by a rope. But see, he's a good woodsman, and every good woodsman has an axe on him. And the gnomes, sorry, not the gnomes, the trolls hadn't quite prepared for the axe that he had. So he takes this axe out of his belt. It's tightly fastened, but he works its way out and he starts hacking at the rope. And by this point, the trolls are like, "Oh shoot, what do we do? He's gonna escape. What are we gonna?" So they start frantically running around trying to hide all the apple seeds. They're hiding them under the rug. They're hiding them over on the mantle, right? They're hiding them in drawers everywhere. They're taking them from the barrel. They're running around just scattering them everywhere. And he's hacking at this rope, trying to get down until finally, with one strong swing, he clips the rope clean off, and he falls right on his not exactly on his head, but kind of on his back. It just so he's dazed for a bit, and that gives it gives them enough to the trolls enough time to run away. So he's chasing them now. He's chasing them down the halls. He's chasing them around. Anyways, trying to find them, trying to chase them down. He grabs one, but every time he grabs one, then another grabs him and makes him set the other one free. So he can't capture all the trolls. So then eventually they all they run away and they escape, and now he's just left in that. He's just left in that room all alone. And now all he has is apple seeds. But he doesn't exactly have the apple seeds. What's this? It's getting back. Haha. Intense music. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ephraim. Give me a horrible something. I do not have any horrible somethings, unfortunately. I only have good somethings, but I hope you do well. My condolences. So now he's sneaking around the room. Trying to find these seeds. So he's opening a drawer. He's like picking them out piece by piece, but they're scattered everywhere. He realizes that by the time he is able to get all these seeds out and put them back in the barrel and take the barrel up the hill, it's gonna be dark. His parents are gonna be worried. His friends are gonna be worried. His trees, he thinks, are gonna be worried. They're not actually, but don't tell him. Let him keep thinking. Anyway, so he's trying to get all these apple seeds, but he realizes that he needs special help. He needs to convince the trolls to bring the apple seeds back from where they hid and put them in the bucket. So now we are in an impasse in our story where I need some help to figure out, what do trolls want? What do trolls like? I need to figure out how we can convince the trolls to get all. Let's see. I think they might want some kind of food, but they already stole the apple seeds. Why do you think they stole the apple seeds in the first place? Probably to grow food. They probably are at a loss for what they're trying to eat. So they need some more food. So Johnny's gonna go and he's gonna try and convince them that if he's able to get those apple seeds back. What's this? With a good song, Alma, thank you. He can convince them. He'll sing a song for them, and that song will be about how he's able to get them their apples back and get them food. They need pigment for the paintings. That's true. So apples are very versatile, I think. Or at least you can probably convince them that they can create dyes for their paintings, and they can create some good paintings, some pleasant artwork, not the furious memes that they put on the wall. Are you doing now today? I am doing now today. Rats like apples. Trade some apples for rat meal for the rat meat for the trolls. That's smart. So apples are versatile. So he decided he's going to sing a song and he's going to kind of convince them. All right. So Johnny Appleseed takes on down the different paths to try and find these trolls. And although he's searching, he can't really find them. They seem to have hidden themselves also in these passageways. Until he's looking in a room, nothing. He's looking in a room, still nothing. Looks down a path, and there's one right in the distance. So he chases after it. And he's chasing after this. He's chasing after this troll. And eventually they go around a corner, and he's captured. The troll's like, please don't hurt me. Please. He's like, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to tell you why apples are your best friend. Now I have to improvise a song about apples. All right, here we go. No. This is a song about apples. What rhymes with apple? I don't freaking know. I know you are in need of food, and if you need a savior, then I'm your dude. I can't do this. I can't believe I'm doing it. All right, whatever. And we shall grow them to a mighty tree, making lots of food for thee. That actually worked. All right. Thanks. You're in your room. Could you move the paper? What paper? What paper are you talking about? This? Yeah, I guess that if you want. Tackle, crackle. Tackle and crackle do mine. And if you don't help me, then you I shall tackle and make your bones crackle. All right. And that was enough. That was enough to make the trolls start to help him. Like, all right, you make a good point. We'll help you grow these apple trees, and then you'll give us some food in return. So he goes around. He starts picking up apple seeds. So then he has to find another troll, and he sings the same song, but it doesn't have the same effect. So he has to come up with another thing. He says, hey, troll, you like writing paintings? Well, guess what? You can take these apples, grow them into trees, use that wood to, make yourself some paper, and then make some real paintings, and then you can share them with everyone and not have to rely on making art that makes people angry. You can make art that makes people happy. It's going to be a good idea. Pitched battle. What is your favorite song? My favorite song? Honestly, it's a Christmas song. Call me weird, but the Christmas song, O Come Emmanuel, it just sounds so cool. Nothing like it. One of my favorite Christmas songs. Anyways, so Johnny Appleseed is convincing. I'm like, yeah, you can make some good drawings. You can make some paper with it because they know how to make parchment. He says, okay, I got you. I'm on your side now. So the troll starts to go. Sorry, I just don't like gnomes for some reason. So the troll starts to go and pick up these apple seeds, put them back in the barrel for Johnny not Appleseed, to take his apples back to his house. So that's two trolls that are helping him now. And then he's got a third troll, and this third troll, he is you like it too, Ephraim? Thank you. I'm glad you like that song. The third troll is not as easily convinced. He said, I heard your song, and your rhymes are terrible. It makes me want to take off my ears and throw them into a box. And throw them into the abyss. Throw them into the depths of the ocean. So I said, all right, well, what about if I convince you to draw a paper? No, I don't like drawing. Every time I draw, it just looks all wonky, and I can never color within the lines, and I just feel bad about it. I'm like, all right, how about I play you something that actually sounds kind of interesting. So then I guess he has an instrument now. But anyways, he played a song, something like this. then the troll was like, hot dang, you actually can play. So then he started to go back and pick up these apple seeds. And once the trolls started to come out of hiding, they're like, well, he's got 3 trolls, and he's convinced them that he's that help pick up the apple seeds, take them out of the hiding, and put them back in the barrel for Johnny Appleseed. And so like, hey, I guess this guy might be up to something. So then the trolls start to slowly come out of hiding, and then the leader troll comes out and is like, why are you in our house? And Johnny Not Appleseed said, well, because you stole my apple seeds and I want them back. So he's like, well, there are apple seeds now. You can't take that from us. So said, well, tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You need food, right? If you give me these apple seeds, then I'll grow some trees all around this forest, and you'll be able to pick apples to your heart's content. And with the magic of Tom Bombadil, which we talked to earlier, we'll be able to fill in, and we'll be able to get a lot of food for you guys. And then the troll's like, well, you do have a lot of foresting experience, and you are Johnny Appleseed himself. So you know what? We'll help you. And then there was thunderous applause, and they all started picking up the apple seeds and putting them back in the barrel. There weren't quite as many as Johnny Appleseed used to have, but there were a lot more than he had presently. So he wasn't going to complain about the ones that were still missing or the ones that got smashed against the wall, because now he has most of his apple seeds back. So everyone's celebrating. He's picking up this this barrel, and he's walking it out. He's able to hold it, and he walks back up the path, and everyone sings. Thank you, Johnny Appleseed. We drink for you with beer and mead. You will bring us food for our home. A debt to you we often loan. I don't know. Anyways, so they sing something that sounds like that, and he walks back up to the path, takes his apple. He starts scattering these seeds everywhere. Tom Bombadil comes. Oh, that's how it is. As the Tom Bombadil starts, walking back, trying to get the he casts his magic on these apple seeds. The trees grow up really quick, and then there's apples for everyone, and the trolls are really happy. And then Johnny now finally gets his name back, Appleseed, and he returns with his apples, and they're all triumphant. And anyways, so that's the end of this story. Kind of a happily ever after for at least the rest of the day. I'm gonna take some questions now. I might have to leave soon, so if you guys have any questions, I know that song. Thank you, Ephraim. Yeah, maybe the trolls can't grow things. Yeah, the trolls, they here's Johnny. Thanks. For the 5 of you that are still in here, let me know what you think about these story live streams. It's entirely new to me. I've never done anything like this in the past, so honestly, I haven't a clue. So I had fun. I don't know about you guys. I had a lot of fun. So I guess I'll play some tunes for you guys. Let me get a different instrument. This one's called a balalaika. It's I believe a Russian folk instrument. It's a fun one. What's that? They are amazing. Thank you, Pink Pineapple. Nice improvisation. Thank you. Brigantia. Sorry, I'm very sorry. Jade Anderson. It's kind of fun. I just lost my job, so it's a nice distraction. Sorry to hear that, Jade. I'm sure you will find prosperity in the future. I understand how it's like. Christopher Sanders says, I enjoyed this. It's really hard to do, so I'm impressed. Thanks. Brigantina says, I like the balla. Yes, it's pretty fun. So. That's a fun song on this one. I think there's also like a Tetris you can play on. It's really cool because you got like 2 drums on it that are the same. So you can do anything on the one, and it'll just play that in the background. Right, you can do some pretty fun thing. Let's see. anyways, this is a really fun instrument. I got this not too long ago, so it's been fun trying to learn it, figure it out. All right. Well, everyone, that has been an excellent first ever vertical live stream. Thank you all for supporting me and for the 11 likes. I appreciate it. It has been great. I will see you all in the next. Be sure to check out my channel if you want other stories or mostly music. But I do have a few stories that are still there. Maybe I'll start them up again if they get popular, but right now they didn't do super well. So if you want to check out my my stories, that's all good. I'm gonna call it. So we're gonna end the live here. But yeah, I've got plenty of other content if you are itching for more. So just check out my channel. I got first song ever. Not first. The first song you'll see is probably me holding this thing. That's a really fun one that I made recently. A mournful tale about a stranger that I once met, and it's actually kind of sad, but it's like a you gotta think about this for next time, kind of. Because I had one chance to do something and I missed my chance. So go check out that. You'll hear the ballad of the stranger, or the story that needs to be told. You might even say. Anyways, farewell, everyone. I will see you hopefully sometime in the future. Farewell.